Hey everybody, what's up? I'm here to talk about episodes 1 and 2 of Lost, the season premiere. Oh my god. Wait. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, where are we? I think it's a week later than when I started this. I seem to have flashed forward in time. So what I'm going to do is not talk about episodes 1 and 2 because that's long gone, and I'm going to talk about episode 503 called Jughead. This is a Lost video, so you guys know the rules. If you're not a fan of Lost, stop by, comment, say, hey, how's it going? This is all about Lost, and I didn't get to it last week. I apologize. So we're going to start on episode 503 about Jughead. What a season so far. I love the way this season's looking so far. I have a few notes, as usual. I'm just going to run down, give some thoughts, theories, a little rundown here, and here we go. I'm breaking this up, too, between the Desmond story and the island story. How many of you guys love the Desmond stories as much as I do? Last season he had The Constant. Season 3 he had a story about, him being able to see the future. He's becoming one of my favorite characters. We didn't even have the Oceanic Six in this episode, and I thought it was just an amazing episode. The best one so far this season, actually. The story begins, Penny's having a baby. So I'm figuring this is about 9 months after they get rescued from the island. They fast forward 3 years later with the birth of little Charlie. Now we know Penny's dad's name is Charles Widmore, which is probably why Penny named him that, but also Charlie and Desmond have had a special bond. So I thought that was really cool. This whole storyline, now they're on a boat, they're heading to Oxford to find Faraday's mom. He ends up in Oxford. He goes to the same lab that we saw in The Constant. He bumps into a janitor who says, rumor has it he took rat's brains back in time. So the rumor already about this whole time travel thing was happening. Then he also alludes to a young girl who essentially her name is Teresa Spencer. And Desmond goes and visits her, and she's laying in bed. She's an invalid. They say she's in and out of things, but it seems to me like she's traveling through time. At one time she woke up, she thought she was 3. The next time she was talking to her father. So I wonder if this isn't one of the first people that Desmond has done experiments on, time travel experiments on. And if this person was somebody he was in love with, I find it very interesting that Desmond ends up being his constant. So I think that's going to be something very interesting to follow. Who is this Teresa girl? What's the story behind that? We also find out that Widmore has been funding Faraday's research for the past 10 years. So definitely it's Widmore's freighter that Faraday was part of. And I'm assuming he's doing this to help find the island, which makes sense. Widmore gives Desmond the address of Faraday's mom, and he says, just don't put Penny's life in danger. And so in the end, Desmond and Penny and little Charlie are heading to LA to find Faraday's mom. I think Faraday's mom is Miss Hawkins that we saw at the end of episode 2. I also think that with them going to LA, they're going to bump into the Oceanic Six, and that might be how Desmond gets back to the island. That's just a thought. But it seems too much of a coincidence that they're all going to be in LA without them heading back to that island if they do in fact go back. Okay, back to the island. We've got our freighter folk, Juliet, Sawyer, and Locke flashing through time. We start out with the freighter folk, and they bump into this young kind of blondish girl with the gun. Her name is Ellie. I kept thinking it was the French woman, but in the end, I did some research. Ellie shares the same first name as Mrs. Hawking. So I wonder if when she ended up talking to Faraday about the bomb and how he said, trust me, 50 years from now the bomb is still there, if that's what kind of put the whole idea of time study and time travel and all that in her mind. I love how Faraday has become kind of a leader. He's become a leader of the freighter folk. He's become one of the main characters on the show, and I think he's a great, great character. Sawyer, Locke, and Juliet um, bump into the others. Those are the people that were shooting the arrows at them last episode. I thought it was maybe the original Dharma people, but no, we're farther back. In the original, as they call them, others, they were speaking Latin, but the others are the inhabitants of the island that have always been there. And it seems like they're doing whatever they can for people to not find the island, and they're trying to protect the island. And one of these others is Richard Alpert, who hasn't aged a bit. We go back, we find out we're back in 1954, and Alpert looks the same. Let's go back a second to Faraday is in the tent, and he kind of lies. Well, he doesn't really lie. He says, I'm not going to make the bomb go off. And by the way, the bomb's name is Jughead, which is how they got the name of the episode, Jughead. But he says, yeah, I'm not going to blow this bomb up because I love this woman. I love Charlotte. So that's kind of a big secret out of the bag here. There's a young Jones, who we end up finding out as Charles Widmore, one of the others. That was a great reveal. That was an incredible reveal. I didn't see that coming at all. So that makes sense that this young Whitmore has been on the island at some time. So what does this mean with him and Ben, him and Jacob, him and Richard Alpert? How big is this power play? What happened there? And what happened with Whitmore and Miss Hawkins, if that is her? I seem to think that they are both Faraday's parents. There's a lot of sibling thing going on here. I think Miles, we saw his father at the very beginning of the episode, Marvin Chang. It'll be interesting to see if that's right, if all these things are right, and who Charlotte's parents are. But when Locke is ready to shoot, at the time they're calling him young Jones, but young Widmore, he couldn't. And he says, well, he's one of my people. He's an other. But I also think the island wouldn't allow him to shoot it, because by shooting him, they would change time. And that's something that can't happen, even though they're jumping back and crossing time zones or time, whatever you call it. It can't happen. You can't change the course of time. Locke asked Juliet, how old is Richard? And she said, well, Richard's always been here. Ben ends up talking to Richard, and Ben and Richard have never met before. It's like I said, it's 1954. He gives him his compass from the future, and he says, "Come visit me if you don't trust me. Or if you don't believe me. I'll be born in 1956." I think that this is what implanted the idea in Richard's mind to go search out Locke, this person who claimed he's from the future. And I think Richard, we saw in the episode last season, I believe it was called Cabin Fever, where he was visiting Locke as a young boy, and he gave him the compass, a knife, all these objects to pick, and he chose a knife over a compass. I think he was looking for him to pick the compass, thinking it was him. And I wouldn't doubt, somebody in my blog TV the other night had this idea, I think it was Andy, that maybe because he traveled from the future to the past, there's this idea that he is this second coming, that he is this savior, that he is the chosen one, but in fact this is all a big lie, just like everything's been a lie, just like his walkabout's been a lie. So I wouldn't doubt if he maybe is, they all think he's a savior and he thinks he's a savior, but in the end he's not, because it's all been a lie the whole time because of this crazy time loop they're in. Those are my theories. The episode ends with Charlotte bleeding. Is she going to die? I don't think so. I think she's one of the main characters this season, so who knows. I love the time travel thing. It's hard to wrap my mind around it. That's kind of why I didn't make a video last time. There was just too much to talk about. I got too busy. But it looks like it's going to be a great season. I feel like a lot of things are coming together. I feel like Widmore's finally coming into play. I think we're going to get some answers, and we're going to get some answers fast. And the big reveal that Widmore was on that island, that probably Ellie Hawkins is probably Faraday's mother, and that Desmond is heading to LA. All these ideas seem to be converging together. So, thanks for watching. there is getting more and more to talk about, and I want to keep this in about 10 minutes always. For those of you the past couple weeks, I've been having a blog TV show directly after Lost at about 9:10, 9:05 Central Standard Time on Wednesday nights. I'll be doing that every week, and come by and we talk live. We talk about Lost live and what just happened, and it's a great way to figure things out or get more confused. But that is all for now. Talk to you guys later. Bye.